Welcome everybody to day 25 of our Elul New Light activation, preparing for Rosh Hashanah. We are in the final stretch. Rosh Hashanah, the new year, the birthday of the world, the birthday of humanity, the entering through a portal into a completely new level of potential, divinity, co-creative power, the merging of heaven and earth. That's coming in starting on Friday night. So we are preparing for it now throughout the month of Elul, because what we accomplish now, in Kabbalistic terms, the vessels that we can create within our own consciousness, our own hearts, emotions, our bodies, our actions, our thoughts, speech, and deed, our choices, our relationships, our intentions, our congruency with our intentions, all of that, our relationship with God primarily. And I have to say that when it comes to our relationship with God, our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with God really have tremendous connection. So in order to achieve, to activate, to receive, to co-create a new relationship with God, you've really got to be working on your relationship with yourself, which is one of the primary cores of this and everything that I teach in the School for Spiritual Empowerment, www.gateofunity.com/school, and all the work that I do at the Gate of Unity, and also in my own life. This is my life. What I teach is what I am, what I work toward, what I work with, what I learn, what I integrate, and it just keeps, I like to signal going up, but actually it keeps also going deeper in. So that's also a circuit, just like the relationship with you and your inner self, between you and your inner self, is going to be a platform for a relationship between you and your source, so in and up. In the same way, that's a fractal. All things work like that, like the higher, the inner, the deeper. They're really parallel. Okay, so today I'm broadcasting from my new office here in the beautiful holy city of Tzfat. And you can see the shelves aren't quite full yet, but they will be soon. And it's just a beautiful energy here, and perfect place, perfect timing to start talking about the theme of today, which is Let There Be Light. So today is the 25th of Elul. You may or may not be aware that the 25th of Elul is literally the first day of creation. So it's not the anniversary of the world, it's not the birthday of humanity. That's actually on Shabbat, which starts on Friday night this year. That is on the 1st of Tishrei, but the 25th of Elul is the first day of creation, as it says in the Torah. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, in the beginning, meaning Bereshit, like the very first thing, like there was nothing. There was nothing that we could call creation, and then, like the big cosmic bang, the big divine bang in the beginning. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of time. That was the beginning of space. That was the beginning of everything. So in that beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and that was today. So I've talked in the past a lot about how the cycle of time, the wheel of time, you can imagine the roulette wheel, that each of the days of the year, actually each of the hours, each of the minutes, and each of the seconds, but let's say each of the days of the year is like a little door that when the day comes around in the wheel, that door opens, and the energy, the creative energy that started in Bereshit, in that first moment of the divine bang that started creating the world, that particular energy of that particular day, that holiday or the day or the day of the week. We have the week cycle, we have the month cycle, we have the year cycle, we have the holiday cycle, we have the Shabbat cycle. So we have all of those things, and all of those energies, each time they come, that day comes around, the portal opens and that energy comes in, but it comes in from a deeper, higher source. So as the wheel of the year goes around, many things are accomplished. We don't realize how much we're accomplishing at every single instant. We're walking, talking, co-creators. The problem is we've been doing it mostly unconsciously, which means that there's a lot of chaos in there. The way we're wired is that we tend to feel like victims of that chaos, and then that shuts down our ability to create a future, to co-create a future to lean into a future that's not just a repetition of the past. So that's what we really want to do now, and that's what Elul is all about. Elul is about putting the past in the past and opening to a new future. And we do that through the specific energies, as I keep bringing up, of Ani Ladodi, Vidodi Li, I make the first move to God as my beloved, not as my judger, not as my punisher, not even in this sense so much as my king or my father, but rather as beloved, as beloved. So in order to make these ultimate transformations, to receive the pouring in of new light, let there be light that's coming in just a few days. It's going to be cosmic. It's going to be whatever happened this year. I just actually saw a source. I didn't yet get a chance to read it inside, but someone sent it to me, and I saw the synopsis from Nakhsam Sofer about the difference between the number 5780 and 5781, that 5780 is a problematic. I have to read it inside to give you the exact wording. It's a problematic number. 5781, which is the new year that's coming in on Friday night, is a phenomenal number. And I'll let you know more about that, hopefully tomorrow once I get a chance to look at it. Anyway, so there's a new light that's coming in, and what we always have the chance to do in Elul, and especially now, as we're so close, we're so close, we're so close. That's why all the dirt's coming to the surface. That's why the whole world is tuned in together. That's why these mind-blowing things are happening. Who could have imagined that we'd be living in the world that we're living in now just 6 months ago? So all of us who are walking around, you know, deep in sleep, like sure that the past equals the future forever and history repeats forever. Now none of us believe that anymore. And who could have possibly come up with this divine plan to wake us up? Nobody, none of us. So we want to understand, we want to look at the deeper level, we want to understand the context of what's happening. We want to lean into that from the relationship of beloved. And Ani Ladodi Vidodi Li, I am to my beloved, means I'm making the first move. As the Rebbe says, don't wait. Don't wait for God to show you the beloved aspect. Claim it. You do it. And then we're taught on a parallel level that God is the Melech Basadeh, the king is in the field, meaning that God is not way back there in the inner chambers of the palace. Not this month. He's out in the field waiting with a smiling face, with a welcoming face, with an open, joyful face, in order to greet us, in order to receive our initiative. So who's really initiating? Always God is initiating, because God is either revealed or hidden, but there's nothing else. But in our personality self, we now get to receive that. We now get to step into that welcome and say, the time has come, enough is enough. We want to be in a love relationship with you. That's why we want to fulfill your commandments. That's why we want to participate in your cosmic building process of a dwelling place for divinity in this lower world, a world of heaven on earth. That's why we want to be participants and partners in the creation process that's starting today, that started last night with Let There Be Light. So let's talk about that. Let there be light. What is light according to Kabbalah? Light is revelation. So darkness, actually, we think of light as humans, from our human perspective, we think of light as like the good stuff. You know, that's when the lights are on, it feels great, I understand, the blessings are flowing. And darkness we see as the negativity, but the truth is on a deeper level, it flips. Always on a deeper level, everything flips. Things keep flipping back and forth as you go lower and higher. In the scheme of things, your perspective is changing, looking up, looking down, looking up, looking down, inner, outer. Anyway, from the divine perspective, light is just that little bit of revelation that's possible, that our vessels, again, our consciousness, our emotions, our actions, our relationships, our conceptions, our beliefs, only that little amount that we're able to receive and still continue to exist. Because too much light, a blast of too much light, causes the soul to fly back to its source. I'm talking about divine light. So it has to be metered out. It has to be enough, just the right amount that our vessels can contain. Maybe a little more, a little stretching. But the more we can expand those vessels into this love relationship, into this intimacy, into this revelation, this opportunity, the more can come in for real into the world, into each of our lives. So this idea of light, when we look from the bottom up, when we look from the outside in, when we're the recipients of this light, only a little tiny bit of light can come out and be perceivable to us, can be accessible to us. You could also call it potential if you want to. So it's revelation, it's divine potential. Anyway, so darkness looks like negativity. It's like, I am in a dark mood. It's a dark world. It's a dark space. It's dense. But from the other perspective, from the inside out, from the top down, this little bit of light that is available to us is like darkness compared to that infinite revelation and potential that is right here hidden from us, that is open to the King, that is open to the beloved. So the inner essence of the light that we see, the next layer is darkness because there's so much concealment of the larger potential of light. All we get is the tiny tip of the iceberg, but beneath that concealment, and part of it is infinite light. So today we have the potential for let there be light. God is saying that cosmically right now, let there be light, let there be new revelation in the new year. How much revelation? And will it come out as light, meaning lighthearted, meaning pleasant, what we perceive as light, even though it's a drop in the bucket, even though it's really darkness compared to the essence. Darkness really is essence. Essence is impossible to express as light because it's just so infinite. But anyway, to us, light also feels good, feels pleasant. The mind likes to understand. We like to experience love, not just believe in it. Like we want to have, when the light fits in the vessels, that feels really awesome. When the blessings flow through and they come all the way down into the physical world, into health and money and happiness and, excellent relationships and influence and, beauty. So, and goodness and justice from a real deep sense. I'm not talking about social justice, which is, whatever, whole other story, but like true righteousness. So that feels so good and that feels like light. So we don't like it when we don't understand things. We don't like it when things are concealed. It's uneasy for the human, which is why we want to open our vessels so deeply, why we want to partner with God on the let there be light, that new revelation that's about to pour in, to co-create those vessels so that what is deep, potential rich, divine, intimate, miraculous can come out and feel good and affect our physical life, our emotional life, and our physical world. That's what we're aiming for. So as you think about this idea, this concept, this reality of light coming into the world, new light coming into the world, think about what it is in you that's not receptive. Like, how good? Here's a question we don't often ask ourselves, but how good are you willing for it to be? How good? How much intimacy do you actually have space for? How much are willing to allow in? Despite the fact that many of us have a ceiling, a wealth ceiling where we won't let in too much intimacy because it makes us afraid, it makes us uncomfortable. We don't recognize it, or we won't let in too much money, or we won't, let in too much success or influence. We won't let in too much health. We'll do instead something to sabotage it, something to hide from it. Of course, most of this isn't conscious, but it's true nevertheless. So the question for you, and this is your fairy dust for today, for the 25th of Elul, how much light are you willing to let in? And if you're not willing to let so much in, if you really look deeply, you might find that there are a lot of barriers that you have put up. I'm not sure, I used to feel for years and years and years, I felt that if I would be successful, then I wouldn't recognize myself. I felt like I would just fall off a cliff somehow. It wasn't a rational feeling per se, and then the rational part was that I have to keep it up. People expect more of me. I might get tired, I'll get overwhelmed. So we all have fears associated with these ceilings that we walk around with. What are your fears? How much are you willing to let the wealth, the light in? Wealth on all levels. How much are you willing to experience, to succeed at, to shift? And where you're not, notice the gap between what you're saying you want and what you're actually doing about it. Notice that gap and then look for the fears. So it's really that triad that will allow you to work with your current vessels and expand them. If you choose to do so, minimum, you'll have more consciousness. So once again, how good are you? What do you say you want? I'll do this in a little bit of a different order now. This is the fairy dust. What do you say that you want in terms of health, in terms of fitness, in terms of finances, in terms of relationships, certain key relationships, in terms of, influence, mission, and your relationship with God? What is it that you say you want to yourself and also maybe to others? Then what are you actually doing about it? In other words, let's look at the light is what you say you want, the potential. The vessels are how much you're actually allowing in. And then looking for that gap. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of that has you perpetuating that gap between lights and vessels? And then last but not least, what are you willing to do about it? And I'd love to see you make a commitment right here on this page, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. I'd love to see you post your answers to these questions. Again, if you want support to immerse yourself in the divine texts and to get answers to questions and to be part of a like-minded community, consider checking out www.gateofunity.com/school. That's the School for Spiritual Empowerment. And I would welcome you there, provided that it's a right fit for you. And let there be light. I'll see you tomorrow.